to the Recovery Daily podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Abbasi. I'm a grateful recovering alcoholic and stroke survivor. And believe it or not, this is take two. And that's really agitating, but it's okay. I'm doing take two because I got this fancy new mic. See it? I got this fancy new mic, and it's allowing me to not sit in my closet and do the recording. The problem is that I like to, you know, scratch my neck and do all the stuff, and I recorded the whole episode, and the whole time you can hear me hitting the mic while I'm while I'm doing it. And it was bad enough that I was like, no, I'm gonna have to do the whole thing over again. It's fine. It's fine because it's a good episode. So, welcome. It's Reads and Recovery Day, and I'm going to be talking about Identity Theft by Debra Meyerson. And it's worth reviewing twice. It really is. It really is. So before I get into the book, the monthly listener challenge, the Serenity Prayer Daily Reflection, your writing prompt for today is: how do you find balance between accepting things and striving to change what you can? Wow, right? I mean, that's the whole battle. Where's the balance between the two of those? So good luck with that writing. I think it's well worth the time to sit down and write about that one. Okay, so today I'm reviewing a book that touches on, it doesn't just touch on it, it goes into depth about the difficulty when one has a stroke and it feels as though that stroke has stolen your identity from you. So the book, Identity Theft, it's the perfect title, written by Debra Meyerson and co-authored by Danny Zuckerman. It has validated so many of my emotions that I've been feeling post-stroke. And for anyone navigating the challenge of reclaiming, rebuilding, discovering the other sides of their identity after a life-altering event, this book says out loud what we are feeling on the inside. I say we, I mean for me, it said so much about what I was feeling on the inside, and I just didn't know how to articulate. So Meyerson, the author herself, is a stroke survivor of two massive strokes. And the book guides us through her loss of identity, loss of all these physical capabilities, loss of speech, as I spit on myself, discovery of um, who she is now, who she wants to be, and the process of rebuilding her identity. Um, so, what I found interesting as I listened to this book is that I feel, and I'll see if I know how to articulate this. The book articulates everything so perfectly, but what I felt like when I was listening to the book was that I didn't lose my identity. I'm not rediscovering my identity. I've been challenged for trying to find the words to articulate what it is, but it's like the identity, my identity was discovered when I got sober almost 8 years ago. Okay. Um, That was the pivotal point in my life where I discovered who I was. And post stroke, I've recognized that I thought over these past 8 years that I've been sober that my identity was in my career. My identity was in my motherhood. My identity was what I wear, what my stuff. But my identity, again, was that thing, the me that I found when I took alcohol away. So, what I'm discovering now, post stroke, is that that essence, that core of who I am is still right here. It's still who I discovered when I got sober. Um, that's other stuff, my job, um, loving to kayak, loving to ride my bike, loving to go hiking. That's stuff that I pile on like icing on top of my identity. But I I'm still the same core person regardless of what deficits I have. And what's interesting is this book talks about a lot about aphasia and a lot about the challenges that folks with aphasia face because just because they can't talk, articulate what they are trying to say, what they're thinking, the world around them thinks that they have a mental issue, like they are mentally disabled. I don't know what the correct word is, so I apologize if I'm choosing the wrong words, but um and that, I'm lucky to be sitting here and being able to use my voice. I have chosen the path for myself to be one of recovering out loud because I recognize that, especially through sobriety, those that didn't get it, those people that I've talked about previously in the podcast that I've lost in my life due to alcoholism, um, will never have their opportunity to use their voice anymore. And the people that suffer from a stroke and their ability to use their voice is taken away. Um, the very least that I can do is try to speak for us, right? Try to use what I have left to benefit, to share the message that the author is conveying in this book. So um, I feel really passionate about what I heard in the book and trying to relay that to you today. Um, I I have found that the identity that I uncovered when I got sober is is now requiring me to lean on things that I didn't know, that I hadn't built the muscle yet to lean on. For example, my hearing. So, my stroke has inhibited my ability to see as well as I used to. There's nothing wrong with my vision system. We're still trying to figure out what's wrong, but it seems like it's a vestibular issue that has posed vision challenges. Um, so, because of that, I can't just go on the internet and you know, surf the internet and do whatever I want to do on there anymore. I have to use my hearing um, in a way that I never have before. And this is this is an adaptation. This is my identity. I'm still the same me. My identity is shifting in a way that it's learning to lean on tools that I already have in ways that I didn't know how to use before. So I feel like my identity is really growing. I'm learning to use more in my life in order to be a better version of me. I mean, that's what I'm trying to do here. So I seem to be the expert on challenging invisible illnesses, alcoholism, and now this vestibular issue, this vision challenge. The only thing that people can see right now is just these glasses that I just purchased a couple days ago that are a little different because they're red, but that would be the only clue that there's anything going on inside my head. And meanwhile, I've got chronic pain every day. I have a headache every single day. I have challenges being able to move my eyes the way that I used to. I can't scan a room. I can't keep my eyes open in the car. I can't watch TV. I can't walk further than a block without feeling sick because of what's going on with my inside my head. And I, just as Debra Meyerson expresses in this book about how the world interprets people who have aphasia. I feel like the world interprets differently people who are alcoholics. Even I used to think that alcoholics are people who live in under bridges. Well, they're not. Some of them are, but alcoholics are just like me too. And so it's important to me to try to merge a lot of this stuff about invisible illnesses. Try to leverage the program that I have adopted in my sobriety for this recovery, this stroke recovery, this vestibular therapy, and everything that I'm going through now. So back to the book, okay? So the heart of identity theft is the personal experience of the author, Debra Meyerson. And sorry, I keep moving the computer. That's annoying. Okay, so the personal experience of the author, what she dealt with her two strokes, the impact that it had on her family, her relationships, and her sense of self. I think it was in the very first chapter that I said, oh my God, me too. Like she said something that I have been trying to articulate. And I think that I may have said it to like one of my friends or somebody that has not experienced a stroke, but I felt like they kind of looked at me like, okay. So what it is she articulated this concept that there is an inner battle about how hard she would fight to get better. Okay. The potential of disappointment versus the the inner obstacles that exist if I don't fight at all. So this, I thought I was the only one, which I know better than that. I talk about it all the time in this podcast. I am not unique. But this inner battle is a common theme, apparently. So I was almost ashamed to talk about this idea of the fight to get better versus the fear of disappointment should I not progress. How much energy do I put into trying to get better? If I don't put any energy at all, I'm not going to get better. Oh man, I hit the microphone again. Sorry. I swear I'm going to try not to do that. Okay. Um, and then, so how much energy do I put in for fear that, okay, yeah, if I don't put any energy in, I'm not going to get better at all. If I put a lot of energy in and I don't get better, then that's going to leave me just truly 100% depressed and frustrated. So this is like a tension within myself that was creating, I believe, enough anxiety that I had to increase my medication because I didn't know, I still don't know like what my future holds. I don't know if I'm going to end up working again. I don't know if I'm going to end up being able, I don't know what's ahead of me. And people around me are always saying like, well, we never know what's ahead of us. That's life. Life is life is full of unknowns. But yeah, but at least I knew whether I was going to have a job or not. I knew that what I was doing tomorrow. I knew what my goals were. Today I'm like, what do I what do I grow at? I need to pick a few things that I choose to get better at. Is it I get better at using voiceover on my computer? Do I get better at sewing so that I can start sewing all of my clothes? Do I get better at um, gardening so that I can maybe do that for a living? I can, I just sometimes I feel so lost and I don't know um, where to put my energy. So engaging in this fight to get better, even with the risk of disappointment, um, is, there has to be a balance. And the book talks about, at least what I heard, is acknowledging that possibility of setbacks and preparing for the possibility of setbacks while remaining committed to the recovery process that we're in. So, my vestibular therapist, I've been talking about this lately. We're setting what seems like realistic goals. Yesterday was not a realistic goal when she asked me to open my eyes on the way home in the car because that just was a disaster. But setting realistic incremental goals that can give me the possibility of celebrating small victories and continuing to have momentum for progress, but not getting to the point where I'm putting so much energy in and then failing, like yesterday felt like. And I was frustrated yesterday. I was frustrated because I felt like I was not understood yesterday. That, well, obviously, she doesn't know how bad my vision is if she's having me ride in the car for a couple minutes with my eyes open. It was predictable that I was going to feel terrible, but I'm committed, like this book is talking about. I'm committed to the recovery. I promised my therapist I was going to trust the process. So some things are going to work and some things aren't going to work. I just need to record them. I have a little sheet where I record what I did each day, how much pain it caused, how much enjoyment I had, and the importance of that activity in my life. So I'm doing all the things I need to be doing. I'm trying to stay very organized and um, follow the rules, right? So this book can be really validating for people who are going through the same thing that I'm going through, where you feel like you've lost a part of yourself to your condition, whatever you may be suffering from, and to be navigating thoughts that I never had before, feelings that I never have felt. I never imagined feeling this way before. And so Meyerson articulates the emotional and psychological stuff. She emphasizes how she talks, about the physical deficits that she's experiencing, but she talks about how healing is not just physical. Healing happens on the inside of us as well. And this has really been, um, if I were to say, has it been 50-50 inward and outward healing? It really, I feel like has been, I don't have the same physical issues. So all of mine feels inward, right? Because it feels like all of my stuff is in my head, because it is in my head. It's between my ears. But so is the emotional stuff. So I've got my physical limitations are in the same place that my emotional and psychological stuff is. It's all right here. And and so it's sometimes, some days it's hard to decipher what it is that I'm trying to fix, what it is I'm trying to heal. So, the themes explored in this book are, of course, the loss of identity. She talks about the impact of not being able to do the things that she used to be able to do. Um, Not only that, but the role in her family that she used to play and how she tries to get that back, how she does get that back, but how it shifts. And there was one part that I really laughed out loud. I'm not going to say exactly what it was because I want you to read the book, but it has to do with having the talk with our kids. And imagine having the talk with your daughter when you can barely speak. So there's a bit of levity in the book, which makes me even adore Debra Meyerson even more, the way that this is all communicated to the reader. Another theme in the book is about rediscovery. So I feel like it's not rediscovery for me, but it might just be because I have had this big journey with my identity through sobriety. Um, I really feel like I am looking at parts of my identity that I need to lean on that I never used to before. Um, it's not a new part of my identity. It's not something that I didn't know was there, but something that I'm leaning into more. There are skill sets that I'm laughing because I'm talking about the sewing part. There are skill sets that I knew were there, but I really never imagined I was going to enjoy them. And look at me now, like I'm sewing my second quilt and I have a pair of pajamas on right now and I sewed them. I put them together all by myself. So yeah, that it's this identity is it's reshaping, it's like morphine, and I'm discovering more about myself that that I guess what wanted to be surfaced. The third theme that I got out of the book is the role of support. The importance of community, of family, of our doctors, and the role that everybody plays in one person's battle. And I think for anyone recovering from anything, from anything. This book offers a compelling story about a strong woman and validates what strength can look like. So, this is what I think is interesting. What we look like on the outside, what we see somebody looking like that is going that let me try again. What we see on someone else on their outside that is going through something challenging like post-stroke, what we see on them looks like strength, right? I've had so many people say to me, "Oh, you're so strong, you're so resilient, you're so brave." I appreciate that. I really do. And I appreciate how people are reacting to me. Um, my family and my friends. But sometimes what looks like strength on the outside is feels terribly, terribly weak on the inside. And conversely, what looks like strength on the outside can be just absolute enraged anger on the inside. And the author talks a lot about being pissed off at what has happened to her. And I haven't really experienced a lot of being pissed off. I think I, mine has come out as sadness and depression more so than being pissed off. The pissed off for me is in the healthcare system. I've been pissed off about the healthcare system. I've been pissed off about the insurance system. And that's probably, I have a whole new perception of the medical field of neurology and doctors and stuff that I used to have a lot more faith in doctors than I do now. That's sad to say, but I just feel like I'm discovering more and more how I am just a test. I'm a test tube, and they're just trying to stick medications in me or whatever and see what happens. And I never thought that doctors were like that. So maybe that's just ignorant on my part. But that is the stuff that I've been a little pissed off about. But my point is that it can look like strength on the outside no matter what is going on the inside of us. And the author talks about how it's it's a really big, long, difficult road to learn how to be sick, suffering, angry, sad, depressed, in pain, and display grace. What I feel is strength is grace. So the book acknowledges many, many of the things that I think must go unspoken. Um, as much as I have been making an effort to recover out loud and do this podcast every single day, because every single day I have stuff that has to be shared with others. I want to make sure that the stuff that I'm thinking on the inside is shared with other people in recovery because I want no one to ever feel like they're unique. The simple fact that I have been sitting here having that internal battle as to how much energy do you put into recovery when you're not sure if you're going to get better, or that thing that I was trying to explain earlier. Just the simple fact that I was experiencing that inner battle and didn't know how to talk about it is is even more reason about why I sit here every day and talk to the computer screen, talk to you, because I, I want those who are suffering and can't use their voice to be heard. Yeah. I want not only stroke survivors, but suffering alcoholics who can't use their voice because alcoholism is drowning them. It's drowning them. People who have had a stroke and can't use their voice because it's just been taken away. I They deserve to have somebody who experienced what they did but can still use my voice to speak about the feelings that I'm having. And I'm going to do everything I can to be a voice for those who can't. Meyerson emphasizes the psychological aspects of healing and reminds us that recovery is multidimensional. It touches every part of our being. And I know that from all the specialists that I've gone to. Even if my stroke did not impact certain parts of me, those parts of me have been inspected post stroke. Like I have gone to every doctor possible because they don't know what's wrong with me. And that does a lot up here to just be like poked and prodded, and not only parts of me, but up here. I've been to a neuropsychiatrist. I sat and took this test, and now I'm going to a psychiatrist and talking about, like, where do I go from here? How do I do this? How do I live? Um, and I have been being a part of this program for living in sobriety for almost 8 years, and I'm still like, how do I live? You know, um, Meyerson teaches us how to use our voice and how to be patient while we learn about the new sides of our identity after a traumatic event like a stroke, and acknowledging that while we have changed, and while on the outside somebody might look at us and be able to see that something's missing, something's changed, something's broken, something's not working, or somebody like me who on the outside you can't see that something's missing, something's broken, something's not working. In all cases, we're still whole. We're still whole. Um, the book highlights, as I said, the need for community. Um, and it's important to lean on others, ask for help as we figure out what we can do, what we can't do, what we like to do, and what we don't like to do, because that seems to change. There are things that I like to do that currently I don't like to do because it hurts, but I want to be able to do it because I know I used to like it? So navigating all of that and taking steps towards where I need to go, even when I don't want to walk, even when I don't, when my vestibular therapist is telling me, okay, for 60 seconds, scan the room from left to right, doing that even when I don't want to. It's very frustrating. Um, I've been seeing lots and lots of posts about folks that lose their ability to walk. And so taking that step, even though you don't want to, you know. Um, Meyerson encourages readers to explore different interests. She talks about hobbies that she has always loved to do as an athlete, as a very physical person, and how she had to shift to new activities that she is capable of doing and still provide her, fulfill that passion for burning that energy and getting outside. Um, I felt a lot of emotion while I was listening for, like I said, these posts that I've seen online. I have just a new, very deep appreciation for all of the stroke warriors that are out there building their lives with these new limitations, and still stretching their capabilities to the point where they're nudging beyond, in order to promote their own growth. It's inspiring. So many people that were told they'll never walk again, they'll never talk again. I went to lunch not too long ago with another stroke survivor who they said was never going to come out of a coma. would never speak again, would never walk again. And she drove me to lunch. So, so, it's anything's possible. Um, so the author I found to be very inspiring. Sometimes I think that it's the strongest of us that are purposefully put into battle as a demonstration of strength and bravery for others, to show how it's done, to show how to stand up and lean in and push forward. I hear some folks that enter sobriety, folks that are living with chronic pain, say sometimes that they feel like they've been forgotten by their higher power. Um, I don't feel this way. I, I don't feel like these people have been abandoned. I don't feel like I've been abandoned. I feel like they have been chosen and lifted to a place where others can learn from them. So for those of us in recovery, from anything, like I said, from anything, Debra Meyerson, her insights offer hope. And there is enough courage spilling over those pages for you to borrow it for your own recovery. And absolutely, she provides really a how-to for reclaiming your identity. And so that's what I have on the book. That's what I have. I feel like I got really serious. So, I mean, it is serious. It's serious stuff, and I think it was an amazing read, and it was worth me doing the episode twice for sure. I hope I didn't get all into the topic and keep hitting my microphone. We'll see. Um, okay, so thank you for tuning in to the Reads and Recovery episode this month. Another great book about strength and grace. And next month for April, the book is My Stroke of Insight by Jill Bolt Taylor. And for this book, she is the author and the narrator. I have already listened to this book and I liked it so much that I wanted to make sure that I share it with you. And I wanted to listen to it again, actually. So, real quickly, Miss Taylor in 1996, she was a 37-year-old Harvard trained brain scientist and neuroanatomist, experienced a massive stroke that incapacitated her left side of her brain, erased her ability to walk, talk, read, write, or remember her life, all within 4 hours. It's amazing. It really is. It's amazing. So, somebody who studied the very thing that she ended up experiencing. It was a whole different view. It reminds me of the movie Twister, where they belt themselves in and they actually are floating in the eye of the tornado. That's what I feel like she got to see. Like that's the view she got to see of a stroke. So it's a really good book. I'm spoiling it for you. It's a really good book. So I hope that you'll join me in reading or listening to that book in the month of April. So thank you for joining me today on the Recovery Daily podcast. I will talk to you tomorrow.